everyone, Jewel back with another super cool astrology video, and I'm wrapping up my Ascendant series here with Cancer Ascendant and talking a little bit about what they are like and a little bit about the themes in their lives. And the Ascendant sign is the same as the rising sign. It is the sign that was rising at the east right as you were born. So whatever sign was coming up, rising in the east as you were coming out of your mother, that is your rising sign. And it sets up the whole astrological wheel. It determines what house rules what area of your life. So, and what sign rules what house. So it's important to determine your rising sign, and it changes within a few hours, so it's important to have a birth time so you know exactly what degree you're born at. And when I do these videos, these are very basic videos because astrology is very complex, and you have to look how everything is aspected, because there's always, you know, two sides to every aspect, and every house ruler is going to be placed differently. So these are very basic videos that I make because this is how we learn. We learn the basics, and then we put all the basics together and come up with a more clear picture. So when I do these videos, I am using equal house system. Every house has a ruler. We're not talking about intercepted houses when I do these videos because I don't believe in intercepted houses. And every house has a ruler, and it's somewhere in the chart doing something. So just because you have intercepted houses, that doesn't mean that that house disappears from your life and you have no experience of that. So it's important to look at every house and to see where that ruler is aspected and what it's doing. So Cancer Ascendant people, they are very focused on family and domestic life. And they are ruled by the moon, and so you have to see how the moon is aspected, where it is and what it's doing, to see, you know, how introverted or extroverted they may be. Because this is a rising sign that tends to be more standoffish. They're warm, but they're very careful about who they trust and what they show to whom. They're more picky about displaying their emotions. They are sensitive, but they're more private about that. And they try to keep a handle on it. They don't, you know, tend to be, you know, very, you know, gregarious or outgoing, or, you know, this is not like a Sagittarius ascendant that, you know, is going to give you a big bear hug. These people, you know, they're friendly and warm, but they, at the same time, are very protected. They have a bit of a shell going on. So second house, they have Leo there. And wherever we have the sun is where we really want to shine. This is where we really want to show up. And second house, you know, describes our early upbringing and our income, our self-esteem, our values, you know, what we value. And Cancer ascendants tend to be ones that actually do want to earn. They actually are pretty ambitious when it comes to their income. They do well in positions, in situations, in jobs where they can have some authority. They actually do really well as teachers. And as you know, they make a great boss. They're very fair-minded. They do well when they have underlings, because they actually do have good leadership ability. And they tend to not be egoists. They tend to be very balanced about how, you know, about how they use their power. And people tend to like working for a Cancer ascendant. And they tend to do pretty well when it comes to their income. They are pretty good with it, and they're one of the rising signs that typically tends to earn more than the rest. Third house, we have Virgo there, and Virgo is a really picky sign. And wherever Virgo is where we're really meticulous and careful. And so, this is the third house of communications and of neighbors, short distance travel, mainly communications. And when we have Virgo there, Cancer is more careful about what they share and about how they share it. They tend to not be crude speakers. Now, you have to look how Mars is placed. Now, maybe Mars is in the second house, like with Pluto or something, and, you have, like, rough speech. But typically, Cancer ascendants tend to be more polite speakers and more considerate and more careful about what they do speak about. They, like crude humor, stuff like that can actually embarrass them. They are more kind of tea and crumpets about what they tend to talk about. So more formal conversation with them. Fourth house, we have Libra there. And, Venus rules Libra. And where Libra is where we want to have balance, and also where we have some passion and artistry. And so this is the home, the fourth house. And Cancer ascendant people tend to have a home that is quite beautiful and quite peaceful. They will often have classical music going in the background. They will have good art. Nice towels are important to them. I mean, things of, some luxury. They want to bring some luxury into their home life. And they tend to be good decorators and have an eye for how things should fit, and color, how things should look. They insist on fairness among their family members as well. I mean, they really are into delegation and to having the home life be more of a democracy, where the workload is spread out, and children are expected to do their part, and they are expected to do chores, and to so things are fair. There's an even distribution of work is what they're looking for, and upkeep, things like that. There's fairness in the home when we have a Cancer ascendant. Fifth house, there we have Scorpio, and where Scorpio is where we tend to want to control. This is where we want to display our power, and a lot of times it's more out of fear where Scorpio is, whatever it's ruling. So this is, the house of children and of romance, fun, gambling, risk-taking. I include pets here also that are not work animals. And they tend to be very shrewd gamblers. And they can have a real poker face, Cancer ascendants. I mean, they really don't give away much when it comes to when it comes to their feelings. I mean, they can, we'll talk about that when we get to the 12th house. They can open up and, get like diarrhea of the mouth when it comes to, their problems. But for the most part, they really keep this close to the vest. And they are more, I don't want to say serious about their fun, but they tend to not let go. I mean, these are not people, they have to have some drinks in them if they are really going to get wild. They are more controlled in social situations and more exacting about their behavior. They don't want to lose control and be known for that. And as far as their children go, they're actually quite controlling. They are helicopter parents for the most part. They're good parents. Cancer ascendants, because we have Cancer ruling the first, we're really about family and domestic life, and then we have Scorpio here controlling the fifth and really micromanaging what goes on in the fifth. These are some of the best parents of the zodiac. But they can be irritating because they are very much into making sure that their children follow a regimen. They're very scheduled. They are very much about knowing everything that goes on with their children, and that can get old. Kids, they need to let go a little bit more as kids get older. And these are parents, Cancer ascendant people, these are parents that really hang on to that relationship with their children for a lifetime. I mean, they really remain close with their children well into old age. That bond is extremely deep for these people. Sixth house, we have Sagittarius there. And wherever Sagittarius is, this is, ruled by Jupiter. This is, the planet of joy and expansion and fun. And we're fairly generous wherever Sagittarius is. And this is also a planet that has some bravery associated with it as well. And so Cancer ascendant people tend to be generous in the workplace. They tend to be helpful, and they are knowledgeable. They tend to fall into careers and jobs where they require some amount of training or education. And oftentimes they go into childhood education, things like, early childhood development degrees, or things having to do with child psychology, things like nursing, pediatrics, things like that. They gravitate more towards those types of fields. And they can be, very nurturing in the workplace. They're so great in healthcare, these people. And very compassionate in their everyday relating, tend to have less enemies than most people. And just a real sense of fairness in their daily life, and just easy to work with and easy to work for. Seventh house there, we have Capricorn. Capricorn is an interesting descendant because it really kind of sets Cancer rising people up for a late marriage. And if it's not a late marriage, it probably needs to be. If Cancer ascendant people get married before their Saturn return, like 28, 30 years old, they tend to be unhappy. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be a death sentence, because after their Saturn return or into their mid-30s, sometimes, if they're still married to that same person, there can be a real turnaround. They can have a real kind of a catharsis in the marriage and decide that they are happy. But usually, this is a ascendant that does best if they wait until they are older to settle down permanently. They tend to attract somebody that is more grounded and concrete and kind of a mature person, but you have to look at how the moon is aspected and how Saturn is aspected, because they could end up, if Saturn is in really discordant aspect, or an aspect to Mars, or Uranus even, or the moon is an aspect to Mercury, sometimes you can get a Cancer ascendant that attracts somebody that's very immature, and they have a lot of problems with that. Women that have the Jupiter-Mars opposition too, for Cancer ascendants, they tend to attract a man that is highly immature. But for the most part, these people, at least want somebody that is more grounded, quiet, handles finances well, is about family, and is reliable. They're looking for reliability above all within their partnerships. And they can really bond deeply with their mates after a certain amount of time has gone by. These people tend to open up slowly over time. It can take years before you really know a Cancer ascendant. And within partnerships, there has to be a high level of trust. And, once they reach that threshold where, they've tested you, or you've been around long enough, and, they determine that, they can really trust you, they can just open up and blossom, these people. And their sexuality really kind of comes out of the closet when they really have a deep trust with somebody, and an intimacy. There has to be, a real sense of emotional intimacy, because their sexuality and their intimacy level are very much, their emotional level are very much tied together. These people really need, to have a bond in order, to feel in a position where, they're sexually attracted. So really important for them to be very considerate about who they choose, and to be very discerning and very, very far-sighted with the mate that they hook up with. 8th house, we have Aquarius there. And the 8th house really shows our what we get after marriage, a lot of it, and our stability, and the stability of the marriage as well. So you really have to look to see how Uranus and Saturn are aspected, to see what's going on there. And this is the 8th house of other people's money, underground things, hidden things, weirdness, scary things, things that we hide, things that we don't want to see, taxes. All these things are in the 8th house. And we have Uranus, as the modern ruler, ruling this. And we can see some real brilliant psychics with this placement. We can see some people that really have the ability to see into otherworldly realms. There's been a lot of psychics throughout history that have been Cancer ascendant. These people can be quite brilliant when it comes to things of the 8th house. And, if we have the South Node here in the 8th, sometimes the South Node in the 12th, this can, really make that psychic ability come out. And they, spirits are of interest to them. The dead is of interest. Uranus rules the intuition, and they have the planet of intuition ruling their 8th house of, being able to see what's really behind things. 9th house, we have Pisces there. This is the house of beliefs, and they are very spiritually oriented when it comes to their belief system. A lot of Cancer ascendant people are religious and tend to remain religious into their older years. There's a certain amount that will abandon religion in their 30s for spirituality. And what that really means is they see God in everything. They see spirit in everything. They don't need an organization or a daily religion to remind them of their spirituality. They can become very mature in how they understand the world, because they just have I guess a spiritual understanding where most of us will have to have a lot of things explained to us, so we will have to find what truth is. And Cancer ascendants, oftentimes, they just know. They just have that sense. They know that there's something there. They know that there's something on the other side. It doesn't matter what it is. It's the same for everybody. They know that. And they have a very broad sense of spirituality. Minutia and spirituality, these things do not mix with Cancer ascendant people. 10th house, we have Aries there. And this kind of gives them a bit of a reputation for being tougher than they really are. They can, Cancer Ascendant people they put up a little bit of a front because they have, they have a crusty shell. They don't want to get hurt. So they have, over time kind of built up this toughness that, gives them a reputation a bit, for being a little bit, a little bit more bullish than they really are. And they, at the same time, they tend to go into careers where they have to display a certain amount of toughness. People that go into careers that they have to be brave in. A lot of times that's Cancer Ascendant. Animal trainers. People that will work in institutions where there's a certain amount of, dangerous people, Cancer Ascendants. These people will take these jobs on. They actually don't mind being tough and displaying that energy in the workplace. They can do that in public, but privately, they're pretty sensitive. 11th house, that is ruled by Taurus. And so, Venus is ruling Taurus. And, Venus is the planet of passion and love and, what we want. And this is the house of, hopes and wishes and our social systems and our friends. And Cancer Ascendant people tend to be pretty passionate about their friends. They tend to love their friends. Like family, actually, and they spend more time with their friends than they do their family. And they love to do outside earthy things, activities with their friends. Mountain climbing, horseback riding, jumping out of helicopters, things that are outside, camping, earthy things, Taurus things. They love doing that kind of things with friends. Outside barbecues, things like that, beach parties, things that have to do with nature. 12th house, we have Gemini there. And 12th house is really a lot about our hidden fears. And our insecurities. And Cancer Ascendant people tend to do really well in therapy situations because, like talk therapy situations, because they will talk quite a bit about what they're afraid of and about what it is that is holding them back and their insecurities. But they have to have that high level of trust in order to be able to do it. But they want to. They want to share what it is that they are afraid of. And they can articulate it. And they tend to have loose lips about their fears. If you know them well, they tend to go on about it. And so they just do really well as therapists and in therapy, actually. They can achieve a lot of inner peace through sharing and through verbalizing their fears. And they also have tend to have a hidden fear that they are not smart enough. They can have, a complex, an intelligence complex, that they are not quite as intelligent as others, or not as intelligent as they would like to be. But it is not true. It is a hidden fear. And it is something that if they look closely at, they will see that there was nothing to be afraid of in the first place. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'll be back with another super cool video. You can find me on the internet at Truth in Aspect Astrology, and on Facebook at Truth in Aspect Astrology. And yes, I do consultation. You can email me for an appointment, and please subscribe to my channel, and I will be back soon, soon, soon. Bye-bye.